Hello my fashion enthusiasts, welcome back to my channel. To all my subscribers, thank you for subscribing, and if you are yet to subscribe, please subscribe to my channel. So today I'm going to be taking you on how to transfer that from one location to another location. So let's get started. Yeah, I have a bodice with a side dart and a waist dart. This dart here on this block, I can decide to move it to my shoulder line or anywhere around the block. I can decide to move this waist dart or the bust dart to the shoulder line or the neckline, or I can move it to the center front of the block. I can even decide to move it to this angle, otherwise known as French dart, or even the armhole, anywhere around the block. Here is an illustration of a body with bust darts. This bust dart you're seeing here, I can decide to move it to the waist dart. What I will just do is to slash through the waist dart and simply close my bust darts like so. So now I have a body with a waist dart, and I can also decide to move my dart from the waist dart to this angle, which is known as French dart. What I will do is just to close my waist dart, slash up that angle to have my dart on that point. I can also decide to move my dart from this angle to my center front line. What I'll do is just to close up the darts right there, and here I have my center front dart. I can also decide to move my center front darts to the mid neckline of the block. So what I'll just do is to open up my mid neckline and close the center dart like so. So now I have my darts on the mid neckline. I can decide to move my dart from the mid neckline to my mid shoulder line. So I will just continue repeating the process to move my dart anywhere around the block. So I'll just simply close my mid neck dart and open up the mid shoulder one to have my dart in there. I can decide to also move my dart from the mid shoulder if I want and move it to the armhole line like so. I will simply open the armhole and close my mid shoulder dart, and here I have my dart on my armhole. I can decide to move my dart around the block. So what you just notice is that all these darts are moving around, connecting. They are all connected to the bust points. They are all connected to the bust points of the block. So anywhere you are slashing your darts, everything, just make sure everything is connecting to the bust points like so. I can also choose to share my darts, so I'll be having two darts technique like that. I can decide to have two darts. Now I have my waist dart and also an armhole dart. I can decide to have two darts around the waistline and the bust line like so. There are some design that you want to create that you have to share the darts to make such design. I can decide to have my two darts around my waistline and the middle shoulder. So I will just simply open the middle shoulder and have my dart around the mid shoulder and also at the waistline. I will just keep repeating this process and moving my dart around the block as I wish, but just make sure that all of these darts are connecting to the bust point region. Now if I want to transfer my dart from the side dart to the shoulder line, I'll just decide where I want to transfer the dart. If it is at the middle of the shoulder or the shoulder tip, I'll just decide where I want to transfer the dart. What I will simply do is to choose where I want the dart to be and connect a line from that region touching the bust point like so. Then I will just simply slash through that line. After slashing through, I will close my side darts like so. I'll close my side darts, and now I have my side dart transferred to the shoulder line. So what I'll do next is to place the pattern on another piece of paper to cover up that space. So I'll just simply close that region. I will put them together, then cut through as you see me doing. So I'll just cut the excess paper around, so now I have that part filled up, so I won't be having any form of space around that pattern. Now I've transferred the entire side dart to the shoulder line, and I'll be having a pattern with shoulder dart and a waist dart with the side dart eliminated. I want to transfer my dart to the armhole region. I can choose to transfer the waist dart or the side dart to the armhole region. I can choose anyone I want. So what I will just do is to locate where I want to transfer the dart, and I'll just pick a line, then connect that line to the bust point. So what I'll do now is to slash through and close my bust dart like so. So now I have my side dart transferred to the armhole region. So I will just simply place the pattern on another paper and fill it up, so I won't be having space around that region. I will just put them together, connect it together, then cut through, cut the excess around the armhole, so I'll have a smooth dart. I want to transfer my side dart to the center front opposite the side dart, so I'll just locate where I want to transfer the dart and connect to the bust point like so. So I will just slash to the bust point and close my darts. I can choose to close the waist dart or the side dart, anyone depending on the style I'm creating, so I can choose anyone I want. Now I've transferred my dart to the center front line. Here I want to transfer my dart to the angle of the pattern, which is known as French dart. So I will just simply rule a line to connect to the bust point, then slash through to have my darts at the angle line. So here I'll show you how you can transfer two darts. So I decide to transfer my bust darts to the angle, and I can also decide to transfer both my bust dart and my waist dart. So I'll be having a wide dart around that angle, and I'll also show you how you can fill up that space to create a seam around the dart. Instead of filling it up completely, I'll just simply create a seam in case if you want to sew in the darts, you don't want to tuck it in, you just want to have a little allowance around there. So I'll just simply put it on another paper and create a seam allowance around the darts, like so. I will create the seam allowance not touching the bust points. So I'll cut through. Now I have a dart with a seam. Instead of tucking in a complete dart that will make it a bit bulky around that line, I'll just have a little seam, let's say like half an inch around there, so I'll be able to sew it in. So now I want to transfer my dart to the neckline, so I'll simply mark where I want to transfer it and connect a line connecting from the neckline to the bust point. So I'll just slash through that line and decide if I want to close my side dart or my waist dart. So now I'm closing my side dart, so I can simply close my waist dart also. So I will be having a wide dart around the neckline. So now I will decide if I want to create a tuck in around the dart line, or I want to create a seam allowance just to sew it together. So I'll just simply place it on another paper and connect from one neckline to the other. So I'm creating a seam allowance around the neck. So I'll just decide if I want to sew it or tuck it in. So if I want to tuck it in, I will just close the neck together like so and cut and blend it together, and further cut the excess around the neck. So if I want to tuck it in, I'm going to leave it this way. If I decide to create a seam allowance around there, so I will just mark a seam around there so I can sew it together like so.